It's Thursday, August 27th. In the headlines, Jamaicans urged to conserve water as drought conditions worsen. In business news, we have your usual market updates. Regionally, CARICOM is stepping up efforts to fight gun trafficking in the region. And in sports, schoolboy football season launched. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaicans are being urged to conserve water as prolonged drought conditions continue to place increasing pressure on the country's water resources. Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samuda, says forecasts indicate little significant rainfall over the next few weeks, making conservation critical as the back-to-school period approaches. The National Water Commission implemented water prohibition orders on August 17 in St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine and St. Anne, following weeks of daily water lock-offs. Minister Samuda's most recent statement says the government is also stepping up emergency measures, with about $86 million already spent on water trucking through members of parliament, and plans to increase that response to approximately $500 million. Priority for water deliveries will be given to hospitals, health centers, schools, and places of safety, followed by vulnerable citizens and water-scarce communities. Meanwhile, the government is accelerating infrastructure projects expected to provide relief within weeks. Longer-term projects include the Rio Cobre water treatment plant, expected to be completed in May 2027, and add about 15 million gallons of water to the Kingston, St. Andrew, Portmore, and Spanish Town corridor. Minister Samuda says the investments are aimed not only at addressing the current drought, but at improving Jamaica's long-term water security. Jamaica's post-Hurricane Melissa housing recovery effort is moving into phase 2. The government is focusing on verifying applications before additional benefits are disbursed under the ROOFs program. Speaking in a recent ministerial update interview with JIS, Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says more than 118,000 homes have been assessed.
Our motto is no one left behind, so we make sure that there are no families or households that have been overlooked. Many times when you go in for initial assessment, there may be persons that are just not there on the ground. And we also identify additional pathways of support. So some of the families might be put into other programs, PATH, social pension, depending on their circumstances.
He says phase 2 incorporates lessons from the initial rollout.
We were able to make some adjustments to ensure that we focus more on getting the verifications done, and making the process more efficient, and removing some of the things or adjusting what we saw as being too bureaucratic or too slow in terms of providing support, and trying best to make sure that we are balancing efficiency and accountability. And that's not easy when you're dealing with the post-support of a Category 5 hurricane.
Minister Charles says priority was initially given to households with severe damage and vulnerable persons, including senior citizens and people with disabilities.
It includes the support from other stakeholders, Food for the Poor and other friends and partners that are part of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee that have also provided support in terms of building material and rebuilt roofs. It includes the container homes that you see being distributed now to several families that lost everything and need a full solution. And it also includes relocation where necessary, because there are some communities, some families that were damaged significantly, but it would not make sense for us to rebuild in that space. We would be putting them back in danger.
Under the $10 billion roofs allocation, grants range from $75,000 for minor damage to up to $500,000 for severely damaged homes, with portions of the larger grants earmarked specifically for building materials. Southeast St. Anne Member of Parliament Dr. Kenneth Russell is the People's National Party's chairman for Region 1. The People's National Party, PNP, confirmed its 6 regional chairpersons for the 2026-2027 term this week. The others include Central St. Mary MP Omar Newell for Region 2, East Central St. Andrew MP Dennis Gordon for Region 3, East St. Catherine MP Denise Daly for Region 4, Mandeville Mayor Councillor Donovan Mitchell for Region 5, and for Region 6, Senator Alan Bernard. In a statement to the media, the PNP says the selections followed a process in which 3 regions went to a vote and 3 were returned unopposed. General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell says the newly elected regional heads will spearhead the party organization on the ground.
These 6 men and women were chosen by our delegates, and that mandate matters. Over the next year, our regional chairs will be the engine of our organization on the ground, connecting Party Central to every constituency and every community. I congratulate each of them, and I have confidence in the team to get the work done.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force Cadet Academy is aiming to shape disciplined, focused young men while delivering strong academic training. The secondary institution caters to boys between 16 and 17, combining classroom instruction with sports, music, and paramilitary training as part of their holistic development. In part 1 of this JCF feature, we take a closer look at the Academy's academic program, admission requirements, and the values helping to prepare its cadets for the future.
I am Tanisha Johnson, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Principal here at the JCF Cadet Academy.
My name is Navar Bell, Sergeant of Police, and the Vice Principal here at the Cadet Academy.
I am Carlington Utah, a Detective Constable here at the JCF Cadet Academy. I teach mathematics at the CSEC level.
I am Sergeant Kelvin Wallace. I am the Dean of Discipline and the Drill Instructor at the JCF Cadet Academy.
The JCF Cadet Academy is a secondary institution, a registered secondary institution owned and operated by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and we cater to boys 16 to 17 years old. So once they reach 18, that's when they will graduate from the Cadet Academy. But like I said before, we cater to the holistic development here.
What value we emphasize in the classroom is integrity, honesty, and team support.
The Cadet Academy was established as part of the JCF's Youth Mentorship Program. So we also work in partnership with the National Police Youth Club movement to ensure that we assist in the development of our young students.
We consider the Cadet Academy as a child-friendly institution, and we are built on 4 main pillars, which include inclusiveness, child-centeredness, democratic participation, and protection. It is a safe environment where every child is considered paramount what we do, and we ensure that they are okay on a daily basis.
How can parents or guardians apply for their child to be a part of the JCF Cadet Academy? So January, February, March, April of each year, that's when we do our recruitment process or enlistment process. So we always send out to our number 223-4634, and they can send a copy of the child's last school report. They WhatsApp it to that number. We will go through the document, and of course, if satisfactory, based on the principal's comment or teacher's comments, and of course the grades, we'll invite the child to come and sit an entrance examination. And once they do that, they have to go through a medical process as well. They have to go through an interview process. We do background check, or we call it an antecedent check. That's done. There's also a physical assessment, because we want to see how strong and sturdy they are, of course. Because of course, school deals with a lot of, agility in some sense. And once they clear all of those areas, then they're at the Cadet Academy. So who are the students who can apply to this institution? So as we said, it's all males, but they must be able to read and write properly, 16 to 17 years old. They must be highly disciplined, of course, so that the process in terms of grooming them becomes a little bit easier. They can come from any high school in Jamaica, right? They must at least be able to perform to 60% average.
The Cadet Academy has shaped me in a disciplined and a focused young man who knows what he wants.
Subjects that we do: English language, physical education and sports, mathematics, social studies, information technology, office administration, Spanish, history. Those are CXCs. And as it relates to the kids, subjects that we do here at the Cadet Academy: communication studies, information technology, law unit 1 and law unit 2. We also offer City and Girls stage 3, math and English. As a part of extracurricular activities, music is taught here. So we have a wonderful music program taught by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Band. At the end of the music lessons, there is an examination, and the certificates come from the Royal School of Music in England.
Here at the Cadet Academy, we partner with other schools to give the boys the opportunity to participate in sporting activities, whether it's fun day that they are having there. We have in our football competition where we will invite other schools to come in and participate, giving the boys a sense of what they had before at schools in terms of sporting activities.
Drill is a paramilitary discipline that is used in both the force and the military. And what we discover is that it is a great tool to instill self-value in these lads. Also, deportment teaches them how to carry themselves, speaks highly as it relates to hygiene, teamwork, and working under extreme pressure.
The morning starts as early as 5:45. They'll get dressed, they'll come down, and we conduct our muster in terms of accounting for each child. And I must add that is done 3 times per day.
Time now for the business report.
Remittance inflows to Jamaica increased by 4.2% during the 6 months of this year, reaching approximately US $1.8 billion. The Bank of Jamaica says the increase was driven in part by a US $24 million rise in remittance inflows in June. The latest figures come as Jamaica's trade deficit continues to widen. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica reports that the gap between merchandise imports and exports reached approximately $2 billion during the first 4 months of this year. The Bank of Jamaica is reporting net losses of $7.3 billion for the period January 1 to August 12 this year. Meanwhile, the bank's total assets increased by about 8% to $1.3 trillion over last year. The increase was driven mainly by higher foreign assets, while total assets rose by 6% to $258.5 billion. Demand liabilities, which include currency in circulation, surged by about 26% to $869 billion. However, other liabilities fell by roughly 19% to $393.7 billion. The bank's capital and reserves also declined about 14%, falling to $56.7 billion. For the trading period of August 26, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 6,383,102 units, representing 27.9% of market sales. Stanley Motor Limited ordinary shares with 4,101,000 units, representing 17.93% of market sales. Sagicor Select Funds Limited financial shares with 3,413,065 units, representing 14.92% of market sales. Investor activity remained concentrated in distribution and transportation plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for August 26, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $159.27 and buying at $157.59. The Canadian dollar had moderate gains supported by 49-cent transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $114.85 and was bought for $114.36. The British pound saw continued volatility in short-term trading, which created opportunities of $2.30 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $216.90 and was bought for $214.60. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, before you finance your next professional development program, think about the offer: 0% interest, pay over 12, 24, 36 months. It sounds like an easy way to invest in yourself, and sometimes it is. But professionals should look at these offers differently, not simply as an education decision, but as a credit and cash flow decision. A training opportunity may promise a new certification, business skill, network, or career opportunity. The financing makes the program accessible today while spreading the cost into the future. And there isn't another issue we don't discuss enough. What is the economic return on the training? If you're spending $8,000 to acquire a skill that can significantly increase your income, financing may be a strategic decision. But if you're accumulating certificates, courses, and coaching programs without converting them into higher income, clients, promotion, or business opportunities, you may simply be accumulating monthly payments. Professional development should therefore be evaluated like any other investment. Before you invest in your next level, understand the debt you're using to get there. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, regional and international law enforcement officials are stepping up efforts to combat the illegal trafficking of firearms and the growing influence of gangs across the Caribbean. The focus comes as CARICOM impacts partners with local authorities for a firearms trafficking workshop aimed at strengthening collaboration, improving detection, and disrupting criminal networks. Italia Hall Thomas reports for Our News.
Thousands of lives have been lost to gun violence over the years, and the problem extends well beyond our borders. Around the region, countries are also grappling with the challenge of keeping illegal firearms out of their communities. This week, regional and local law enforcement leaders are meeting for a firearms trafficking workshop. CARICOM Impacts is partnering with local law enforcement to conduct the sessions, which are designed to educate and sensitize officers about the threats posed by firearms trafficking. But officials say the challenge goes beyond the flow of illegal guns. Deputy Executive Director of CARICOM Impacts, Tanya Ayo says gang influence is also becoming an increasing concern.
As you know, in the region, gang activity is quite high. It's not only in the Northern Caribbean, and yes, we do hear about Haiti, but we also know that in the Southern Caribbean, the activity is quite high as well, and they cross borders. So it's important that when we do this sensitization, we address the issue of gangs and how they move, how they operate.
Also joining the workshop was United States Ambassador to the Bahamas, Herschel Walker, who says while both countries have differing views on its citizens' rights to bear arms, they are working together to stop the illegal flow of weapons.
We're advancing technologies to detect firearms at the port of entry and exit. We're identifying, targeting, and dismantling criminal networks. We're seizing guns, ammunition. We're headed to the Caribbean region to do the same. We're holding firearm traffickers accountable with prosecution and giving them long prison sentences. But the most important thing we're doing is collaborating with the Caribbean and the Bahamas.
Antigua and Barbuda is hosting crucial talks among international stakeholders aimed at strengthening the country's ability to deal with biological threats from disease outbreaks to risks facing agriculture and food security. The Tun Island state is also preparing for its first confidence-building measure report under the Biological Weapons Convention. ABS News' Shanakisha Francis reports.
Antigua and Barbuda is strengthening its preparedness against biological threats as government officials and international experts meet here for a 2-day national workshop on implementing the Biological Weapons Convention.
The workshop is being held at the Tradewinds Hotel. Foreign Affairs Minister E.P. Chet Green announced the move Wednesday, saying it will demonstrate the country's commitment to meeting its obligations under the international agreement.
Particularly pleased to announce that one of the key outcomes of this workshop will be the preparation of our first confidence-building measure report. This will be a significant demonstration of our dedication, proving to our partners and to our people that we follow through on our promises.
Antigua and Barbuda acceded to the convention in 2003 and in 2024 enacted legislation dealing with the prohibition and non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. But Green says implementation is also about building the system's need to react quickly when a biological incident occurs.
1, it supports outbreak readiness. By improving coordination among our agencies, we can detect, investigate, and contain outbreaks more quickly, whether they're natural, accidental, or deliberate.
Deputy Chief of the BWC Implementation Support Unit, Dr. Alex Lampalez, says these developments can benefit health, agriculture, and fisheries, but some can also be misused.
Rapid advances in science and technology are reshaping the biological landscape. These advances bring opportunities for human health, for agriculture, for fisheries, but pose also serious biosecurity challenges because of the dual-use potential.
Lampalez also warns that existing international frameworks remain under-resourced and ill-equipped to address some emerging risks. The United Nations-led workshop, funded by the United States, will examine national implementation, international assistance and cooperation, and confidence-building measures. Participants are also expected to visit 2 laboratories in St. John's as part of the 2-day program. Shanakisha Francis, ABS News.
St. Lucia is set to receive its largest ever single investment in housing following the signing of a $20 million loan agreement with Taiwan. The funding, secured by the St. Lucia Development Bank, is expected to support more than 200 households and expand access to home ownership for families struggling to secure financing.
St. Lucia has landed its biggest housing investment ever. The St. Lucia Development Bank has signed a US $20 million loan agreement with Taiwan. Money, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierce says, will open doors for families who've long been shut out of home ownership. The deal, worth about 54 million Eastern Caribbean dollars, comes with a 5-year grace period and 15 years to repay. The bank's chairman called it a turning point.
This US $20 million concessionary line of credit is more than just a financial transaction. It represents a tangible demonstration of the friendship and diplomatic cooperation between the governments of St. Lucia and Taiwan. It represents the largest negotiated inflow of financial resources into the SLDB at any one time. And most importantly, it represents the largest single investment ever made to support the expansion of housing stock in St. Lucia.
The bank's managing director says the money is meant for people who've done everything right but still can't get a foot in the door.
Behind that number are families throughout this beautiful Helen of the West who have been saving for years towards a home of their own. They may have the land or a partial deposit set aside towards a house. They quite often have the will. What they don't have is a lender that is willing to walk the distance with them. Those families are why we are here today.
Prime Minister Pierce says lending decisions here shouldn't be driven by profit alone.
And I use the word will, commitment, and discipline, particularly for the St. Lucia Development Bank. In your know your customer processes, you have to look at the will, commitment, and discipline.
In sports, the new schoolboy football season has been launched, and Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association Competitions Officer Ewan Scott believes changes to the format and structure of the 2026 schoolboy football season will make the various competitions more competitive and credible. For the Ben Francis, 64 teams will participate in the tournament. For the Walker Cup, it will be 32 teams. Mr. Scott says it will be a straight knockout. He says that will not change, but more teams will each get a chance to compete, inclusive of the seeded teams. In cricket, the St. Lucia Kings are back on top of the Republic Bank Premier League standings after a commanding 36-run victory over the Trinbago Knight Riders at the Queen's Park Oval Wednesday evening. Tim Seifert led the way with an unbeaten 105 from 61 balls, his second CPL century, as the Kings posted 211 for 4 after being sent into bat. Charith Aslanka added 33, while John Campbell contributed 27. In reply, Kieran Pullard kept the Knight Riders in contention with a rapid 65, while Colin Monroe scored 48. However, Roston Chase turned the match in the Kings' favor, taking 3 wickets for 24 runs, as Trinbago finished on 175 for 6. The victory moves St. Lucia to 8 points and back into first place, while the Knight Riders remain 6th in the standings. And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBC Jamaica. Thanks for watching.